Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a truly beautiful story about growing up. N.V.M. Gonzalez's classic, Bread of Salt. It's one of those tales about first love, about big dreams, and about that really tough moment when our innocent view of the world just collides with reality.
So this entire story really hinges on one simple thing, a Filipino bread roll called pan de sal, which literally means bread of salt. Our narrator asks this question right at the beginning, but believe me, by the end, he's going to understand its meaning in a way he never, ever could have guessed. All right, let's get into it.
So we start in the world of our narrator. He's a 14-year-old kid, and his life is all about routine, these little comforts. But underneath it all, there's this really powerful longing for something more.
Every single morning starts exactly like this. Just picture it like the opening scene of an anime, It's that pre-dawn quiet. We get a close-up on his hand reaching into a jar, hearing the jingle of the coins. Then we follow him through the sleeping streets, the camera just focused on that warm paper bag of fresh bread he's holding close. This is his world, safe, predictable, and totally innocent.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Think of a classic cinematic shot. The camera just pans across this dry riverbed, moving from his very humble world on Progreso Street over to another one. A grand house owned by an old Spaniard, a place he sees as a castle. And well, in that castle lives his classmate, Aida. She is everything he isn't. She's wealthy, she's high class, and she seems completely out of reach.
So, how does a kid even begin to cross a social canyon like that? For our narrator, the answer is music. He gets it in his head that if he can just become good enough, talented enough, he can build a bridge to Aida's world with his violin.
And man, does he dedicate himself. It's like a training montage sequence. You can just see the quick cuts, a close-up on his determined face, his fingers just flying across the strings. Every bit of praise from his teacher, every move up in the orchestra, it all feels like one step closer to her. He isn't just playing music, he's trying to write a whole new life for himself. And this ambition just explodes into these incredibly vivid daydreams. The scene shifts, the colors get all bright and saturated. He's imagining himself coming back from a world tour, a musical genius. A millionaire even gifts him a priceless Stradivarius violin, the ultimate sign he's made it. And of course, in the front row of the concert hall, a shot of Aida looking up at him with total admiration. But, reality has a nasty habit of crashing the party, doesn't it? His aunt just drops this casual, brutal comment, and it cuts him deep. Picture a sudden close-up on his face as he hears this, the world around him just blurring out. To her, a musician isn't some celebrated artist, they're just hired help. It's this painful slap of reality, reminding him of the very social class he's trying so hard to escape. Okay, so all this tension has been building, and it all leads here, to the climax of the story. The boy and his band get a gig playing at a fancy high society party at Don Esteban's house, which is Aida's house. This is it. This is his big chance to finally step into her world. The second he walks through that door, the gap between their worlds becomes so clear. Imagine this wide shot from inside the house. He's just this small figure, totally out of place, framed in the doorway. He's surrounded by chandeliers and heavy curtains and a kind of luxury he's only ever dreamed of. He's physically there, but he feels like a complete stranger. And then he sees the food. The camera does this slow pan across the table, all from his point of view. It's just overwhelming. Way more food than he's ever seen, with these fancy names he doesn't even know. These aren't just desserts, they're symbols of a life of unbelievable wealth, and his ignorance of them just makes him feel even smaller. Finally, late in the night, the band is allowed to eat. And feeling this sudden rush of confidence from being with his friends, and just this powerful desire for all these fancy things, he does something impulsive. In a series of really quick shots, we see him not just eating, but sneakily wrapping sweets in a napkin to hide inside his shirt. And then, the moment that changes absolutely everything. The camera is tight on his hands as he's stuffing that napkin under his shirt. Then, we hear Anna's voice off screen. He just freezes. She walks into the frame, and her expression isn't angry, it's kind. Her words are so quiet, but they are totally devastating. She's not seeing him as an equal or a potential crush. She's offering him charity. It's an act of pity. And for him, it is the ultimate humiliation. So yeah, here's the crucial point. With that one kind sentence, his entire fantasy world just collapses. Imagine that idealized dream version of Ida he had in his head just shattering like glass. And in her place is a real person who has seen him at his absolute lowest. The shame is so powerful that his idealized love just vanishes instantly. He runs out to the veranda. We see him in silhouette against the dark night as he just throws the stolen sweets away. That single act, it marks the end of his innocent boyhood dream and the start of a really harsh but very necessary awakening. And his journey through the night is shown in this final montage. After the party, he earns a little money busking on the streets, and as the sun starts to rise, he ends up right back where the story began, at the bakery. He has come full circle, but he is not the same kid who started this day. And this is where the title finally makes perfect sense. The bread of salt is no longer just breakfast. In the story's first few frames, it was the symbol of his innocent childhood. Then, his humiliation at that party gave him the bitter, salty taste of reality. And now, in this last scene at the bakery, with money he earned himself, it becomes something totally new. The solid, grounding comfort of accepting who you really are. He's buying his own bread now. And that really just leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The boy loses his fantasy. And yeah, it's a deeply painful thing to go through. But in losing it, he also gets rid of his illusions and takes his very first real step into adulthood. It's that bittersweet experience of growing up, the true taste of the bread of salt.